You know what's funny? This past year, there's been one wrestling game that I actually tend to go back to more and more just to be able to have quick matches, good time, and it's just kind of overall fun. That would be WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Today on the show, I'm going to talk to you about what WWE 2K22 can learn from WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Let's go. Welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Good to see you. Good to have you here on the show. So, WWE 2K Battlegrounds, it is a game that, yes, it is like microtransactions up the wazoo. It is limited. It is small. The amount of paid DLC is absolutely crazy. However, there are some things about the game that 2K has done very well and that I'd actually like to see WWE 2K22 adopt as we get closer to this inevitable reveal and launch. Maybe in October, November. We still got nothing. It's been months. Like, we've got nothing. Like, we're hoping for SummerSlam. I just don't know anymore. First thing on my list, faster gameplay. I enjoy the gameplay speed that we get out of Battlegrounds. Now, I know that this is very arcadey, and it is actually meant to be this way. It's supposed to be fast-paced, quick, to the point. But I do think that WWE 2K could take some of this and put it in their game. I'm not asking that 2K22 turns into a full-out arcade, although we could introduce some sort of arcade mode, which would be nice. I know that WWE 2K22 is all about the simulation experience and mimicking what we have on TV and pay-per-views, but I would like to see them actually try to correct course a little bit by trying to make things a little bit more fluid and speed things up from a gameplay perspective. Too much I found from 2K20 and even a little bit in 2K19 that things were a little bit slow. It's a slower pace, and especially in 2K20, trying to get in and out of the ring and navigate, there's a lot to do, and it's a very, very slow and tedious process, and stuff is not always clicking. What Battlegrounds does from an arcade perspective is make the action quick, to the point, and that you can get in and out without any real problem. The other thing I would love 2K to try to do for the next WWE game in the franchise for WWE2K, I would really love them to take advantage of better, different camera angles. I am so bored with the camera angles when it comes to WWE 2K20 and those games. The 2K franchise has just been the same thing. They've switched it up over the years. I like a tighter camera. I like to be closer to the action. But with 2K20, I'm just so bored of the same camera angles that we see all the time. If we can't change it up too much, make it a little bit more dynamic, like they do in Battlegrounds, where you could actually have things when it's teed up for special moves, combos, finishers, and they tilt the action and they change it up a little bit. Get me closer to those big epic moments in WWE 2K. Battlegrounds does a nice fun job of actually making it more interactive and engaging for what you want. If you kept the camera angle exactly the same in Battlegrounds, you lose half of what's going on because it's part of the aesthetic, it's part of what they have built in that arcade style game. So when I get Roman Reigns getting teed up to actually do his Superman punch or his big spear, I want to see that camera change gears, switch it up completely, focus on him, and focus really tight on the action. That's what I want, is better camera angles, and I think they could adopt that a little bit better from Battlegrounds. One thing that irked me, and I said irked, one thing that bothered me so much from WWE 2K20 is the lack of creativity when it comes to character selection screen. It drove me nuts from the day that I turned on that game and every character model had the exact same pose over and over and over again. It drove me nuts because part of the fun is that matchup screen and being able to see your characters getting ready to have a one-on-one match or fight for the title instead of just looking like... It didn't bring anything, it didn't bring any value, and it showed that they lack creativity and push forward for this game because all of those little tiny details, they matter to hardcore gamers like us and players like us. The actual aesthetics and how colorful and fun it is in Battlegrounds to go through and blade through all the character selections and picking out your superstar with their actual music hitting behind them. It was fast and snappy, and I enjoyed it. It made for a more engaging experience. It doesn't need to be over the top like Battlegrounds, obviously. That is an arcade game and is meant to have that aesthetic and style. But 2K could do a better job of actually trying to animate something in there when it comes to the character selection. Give me something to work with versus just the standard pose. And on top of that, having the actual breadth and the size and the depth of the roster, around 140 characters and playable superstars. Yes, that is all DLC and everything too, I understand that. But even though to have a large roster like that, from Legends to current stars, it made it really, really enjoyable, and being able to have a really good experience on top of it, going through your character selection and having different attires, being able to select those, that made a lot of difference. Yeah, we've got a ton of paid DLC in Battlegrounds, but when they offer you different actual attires to be able to use for your superstars right out of the gate, or that you could unlock throughout the game, that is a fun thing that they can try to adopt more in WWE 2K22. We're all going to download and do our custom actual attires for our superstars and our favorites, but it's nice to actually have just the same superstar in the same slot and just be able to toggle between their actual attires instead of giving Bayley 4 different versions and unlockable sections. It just drove me nuts. I hated all of it. And with 2K22, I understand that we have a simulation game and it's very in depth, and we got to do different button combinations for like little quick grapples and strong grapples and different types of strikes, and it's going top rope and different button combinations. There's a lot. There's a lot to actually figure out if you are a new player to the franchise. If you're a seasoned veteran, you're fine with it. Other than the fact that they changed up the control scheme a little bit on 2K20, and that drove everyone bananas because it just was pointless and meaningless and no one asked for it. Nobody. Not one. But with Battlegrounds, it's obviously a simple design and actual control scheme that they used for this based on the type of game. Couple of moves, yes, your movesets from a high flyer are going to be the same from Rey Mysterio to Ricochet. They're going to be the same other than their finishers and specials, but it felt okay because I was snappy and I was in the game and I could pick it up really quickly and didn't have to learn a whole control scheme like I do when it comes to 2K20. So I'd like it if WWE 2K22 could actually streamline the controller scheme a little bit for newer players that are jumping in and don't feel overwhelmed with all of the different buttons and everything that they have to do to be able to engage in the game. It gets your audience more engaged in the action of what's going on instead of trying to think of what's the next move I gotta make on my controller. And as we talk about simplicity, I'm actually a really big fan of how Battlegrounds does just their menu design. I'm a sucker for that. If I can go through any game that is going to have a very, very easy, clean, aesthetic design that I know what the modes are and I am not blading through menus and sub-menus, I like how Battlegrounds did this where everything's in front of you. I know exactly the mode that I'm going to get into and you're in really, really fast. That was a huge plus for me when it comes to that game, and I think WWE 2K22 could do something like that if they wanted to. It's probably going to be like 2K20. There's menus and sub-menus and all this other stuff all the way across to show you everything that you can do in the game. I get it, but there's a way to organize it a little bit better so that you can get into those menus. I like having one giant splash screen, and then I can drill down into the game itself. And the last thing I have on this list, and thank you all for watching this episode, by the way, you guys can give it a like if you enjoy this episode all the way through, but the last thing that I actually really like to see them adopt is going to be the challenge mode that they did in Battlegrounds, and put something like that in WWE 2K22. Challenge mode offered up something new to be able to do. You can progress your character and your superstar along the way to be able to get unlockables and work towards actually going to be able to unlock future superstars. I'd like 2K22 to do something similar. It's almost that Mortal Kombat leveling system, right? I'm going to go through the ranks. And yeah, we have the towers and all of that, and that's fun to a degree, but I like them to do something like these challenges. Give us those weekly challenges in the game. Build that in. So many other games do this on a bigger level. Give us more daily challenges, weekly challenges to work towards. Whether it's going to be for trophies to unlock within the game itself, online titles to be able to unlock for hitting all of these milestones, whatever they can do to try and freshen it up, because if they don't go with a traditional Road to WrestleMania career mode, that type of thing, and we get a GM mode as the main focus, put in a challenge mode of some sort where I can actually take my character and I'm working towards increasing XP, some unlockables, being able to use those points and then be able to unlock certain attires. If you can put those things in there, you can constantly refresh it too down the road. You can update and include new challenges to possibly include, say, let's go down a road of going a challenge mode with Becky Lynch. When Becky actually makes her big return, she's going to have new attires and a new look and everything. It would be really cool if they could put something like go through Becky's challenge mode and at the end, unlock one of her brand new attires in WWE. Something like that to get players to work towards something. They can go through and do beat the clock challenges or try to beat X number of superstars in 20 minutes, whatever the case is. But a challenge mode like Battlegrounds where I'm working towards certain goals could be a breath of fresh air for WWE 2K22. Folks, let me know in the comments below, what do you want to see out of 2K22? And are there things on this list that I have that you like from 2K Battlegrounds that you'd like to see them adopt? Thank you so much for watching. I'm Matt here on Assemble. And as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See ya.